Welcome back everybody. So Storytime animation versus commentary chance. Let's begin with the big one, criticism. You see, criticism comes in two forms, deconstructive and constructive. There are two outcomes from it. The constructive criticism is there to help you and make you succeed, make you better. The deconstructive criticism is to see you fail, to see you quit, to see you stop. You're going to see both, you'll encounter both, it's inevitable. It may be hard and the lines will be blurred at times. You need to be able to distinguish the two on YouTube if you're going to have any longevity with your career. You have to learn from it in order to better yourself. Now this is completely subjective, of course. A lot of people question whether or not it's right that an animator has a team of animators helping them. Now personally, I don't see anything wrong with this, as many YouTubers have people to assist them, whether that be cameraman, editors, etc, etc, you get the point. Especially because animation as a medium takes so long to produce. The thing I do take issue with though is not properly crediting the people who are helping you. I'll give an example here, Jaden Animation. She did an incredibly poor job of handling this. See, it's well known that she has a team of animators. The problem is she would just refer to them as other animator buddies in the description of her videos. I think it's fine, but regardless of whether you're paying them either through money or exposure, you have to be clear about who is helping you and what exactly they are doing.
I'm the one doing all the animating and work.
Something that I don't think Storytime animation gets enough credit for is that it's a great entry point for a lot of young animators to get their feet wet and explore animation and art. And they can find out for themselves if animation is truly for them, if they want to stick to purely Storytime animation or they want to move on to something more advanced. Commentary channels. This is an important thing you have to ask yourselves. When you make a video, what is your intent? Is it that you want to see something better? You want to see Storytime animators better? Or is it that you just don't like the person or the genre? Look, I'll gladly use myself here in this example. This video right here, the jokes, the humour, it's all in good fun, it's harmless, and it's just used to complement the overall point of the video, which is that I want to help both communities. I want to do good by them because I'm passionate about both of them. Whereas you look at something like my Fox Goodman video, you can tell in that video very clearly how different it is from this one. My Fox Goodman video is not some deep critique by any stretch of the imagination. I did it because I wanted to have a bit of fun and because I genuinely don't like Fox Goodman. I've always been honest about what is the intent, what is the purpose of the videos. It's the thing commentary channels have to ask themselves. There has to be clear distinction between the two. Be honest with your audience. Now for this next part, I've reached out to a lot of animators and commentators to speak their mind on the matter. I want to be clear here, I did not influence their decision, I did not give them a script, I simply set out two rules for them. That they wouldn't curse or be overly vulgar, and two, that they have their part be anything below 10 minutes long for the sake of pacing. I'm incredibly grateful to have these 7 people on to speak their mind, speak their heart, say whatever they want to say. So with all that said, let's begin. First off, Nate is lame.
Hello there, my name is Nate is Lame, and this is a little bit impromptu. I was asked about my opinions on the animation community commentators, you know, the folks who have little animation avatars and say mean things about the animation community. So here are my thoughts. Well, recently I was offered a position on a video anyway to talk about my problems with a fellow named Crank That Frank. I never really watched a whole lot of Crank That Frank in preparation for the video. I watched a little bit of his content and it was awful. I really do not like Crank That Frank. I can't stand his content. I don't really like a lot of the stuff that he does. I don't like his live show, nothing. I don't like anything about Crank That Frank, but I opted to step out of the video, and the reason is because, as much as I don't like Crank That Frank, his content wasn't hurting anybody. It wasn't offensive, it wasn't trying to be anything more than it was. And that was the reason that I wasn't going to participate. Because at the end of the day, Crank That Frank wasn't really hurting anybody. His content wasn't hurting anything, so like, why stir the pot, you know? I really don't like the mentality of targeting harmless content. Because if these creators aren't hurting anybody, where is the cause for this kind of content, you know, debunking them? And at the beginning of their lifespan, that's kind of what these commentary channels were doing. They were targeting somewhat harmless channels. And I wasn't a very big fan of that, you know? The turning point was when Daft Pina came out and he did his expose on Fox Goodman. Rest in peace, buddy. I feel like that was a really important video because Fox Goodman was the first bad actor in the animation community. The Right Opinion actually did a really phenomenal job explaining this. The animation community had been fairly harmless, nothing had really happened, and so as soon as a bad person like Fox Goodman does come forward, we need to make a quick example of him so that we lay down, this is okay, this is not okay. And the cool thing about that is that the expose on Fox Goodman blew up. And so now these commentary channels are like, oh, well, what we were doing originally wasn't working out, so now let's start targeting people who actually matter. And so now we have a whole collection of these channels targeting bad actors in the community. And I really like that turn now. They don't target someone because they're 13, they don't target someone because their videos are boring. They're now targeting people who are actually putting out toxic content, and I really appreciate that. So I really want to give props to LS Mark, Turkey Tom, especially Daft Pina for being a trailblazer, because these guys have really turned themselves around and now they're actually trying to make YouTube a better place. So in the end, I really appreciate them. Their content has drastically improved, and I think that this is going to be a good thing for the animation community as a whole.
That guy who can't sing.
Hey LD, thanks for having me. This is Guy, and I thought I'd put my 2 cents in. I think that the problems mainly arise from destructive criticism and poor reaction to being critiqued. Destructive criticism rallies people against creators and often has inaccurate facts and nasty opinions or straight up hate speech. That's not so much a review as it is propaganda. I hope for the commentary community to instead pursue constructive criticism, giving accurate tips and advice on what can be done to improve the content within the context of that creator. By that I mean every creator is different, and the same advice doesn't necessarily apply to all. I personally really enjoy Staxolotl's videos, as do many of the people he reviews. He's fair, he strives for accuracy, and he's encouraging. As for the animation community, I've seen people positively accept these reviews and critiques. I've seen people ignore it. That's cool. You're welcome to take or ignore criticism as you wish. I've also seen people get pissed off, and I'll tell you, I think that posting about how much you hate someone for their nasty review of you is as destructive as those nasty reviews. Sure, some people get angry easier than others, but I hope that we can all strive to be better than that. In the end, everyone is free to say or post whatever they want, so long as it doesn't violate law or terms of service. But I really hope that people choose the high road and try to build a better and healthier community.
LS Mark.
What's up, Liam? So, my opinions on the Storytime animation community hasn't changed, really. I've just sort of mellowed out about it, I guess you could say. Like, I still think all those things that I said in the videos. Like, I still wholeheartedly believe all the stuff I said. I guess I'm just a lot less open about it. Like, I remember around that time I would, like, go to Twitter and, like, talk about Storytime animators constantly, and it was just sort of, like, the waste of time. And now I sort of just I don't really care about them anymore. Like, that's what happens most of the time when I make a video. Like, I'll be really passionate about it, and then by the time the video comes out, I'm like, I don't care. I've spent, like, so long on this. I don't care about the topic anymore. It's leaving my brain. I still get people messaging me saying stuff like, oh, can you talk more about the DMs between you and the Odd Ones Out? And I'm like, what? That was like forever ago. I don't even remember what we talked about. Yeah, I guess that's the way to sum it up. I'm a lot less vocal about it, because I spent way too long on that video. Like, I spent my entire summer working on it, which I didn't mean to do, which meant I spent every day just constantly thinking about Storytime animators. And whenever you do something like that, by the end of it, you're sort of disinterested in the topic. About halfway through editing, I was just like, should I scrap this? I don't care anymore. if you go to the second video, I sound really bored, and that's because I am really bored. I really just didn't care about anything I was talking about. So yeah, I guess this isn't like a lot to say. I don't have a lot to say on the matter because I really, just after that video came out, I forgot half the shit that happened. Like, I don't care anymore about it. I have no hard feelings against the Storytime animators. I don't really watch many of them anymore. I watch a couple of my friends who make Storytime animations, but other than that, I'm like uninterested in them. They can do what they like, I don't really care anymore. I'm sorry, that's not like a very exciting answer, but that's just how I feel.
2-Bit Eric.
Okay, so before I get started, I want to point out that I actually really like the animation community, and I'm kinda hoping to become a part of it one day. So what I'm about to say comes from the heart. Well, at least where my heart would be if I weren't a cold, dark shell of a human being. Anyways, let's get started. If there's one massive complaint I've seen leveled at the animation community, it's the unwillingness of some creators to take criticism. This is far from a ubiquitous problem, but it's still prevalent enough to warrant talking about. Now, I'm not going to name any names, I'm not here to cause any drama, I'm just here to speak my mind. Hey, can you stop rambling and get on with it, please? Alright, sheesh. Here's the big idea. If you put out content on the internet, you open yourself up to criticism, and you owe it to your audience to implement the criticism in order to make your content as good as possible. Pretty revolutionary stuff, I know. Disturbingly enough, some creators tend to brush off genuine criticism as hate just because they don't like what the critic has to say. Simply put, this is bad, and if you do this, you are bad. I mean, you might need to consider that maybe, potentially, in some way, somehow, the critic might have a point, and you might have some things that you need to improve on. That's called being humble, folks. And look, I get it, being criticized isn't fun. Truth be told, it can be a massive bummer, but it's necessary. When you receive genuine criticism, you shouldn't look at it like it's a personal attack. That is really unhealthy. Instead, look at it as something of a gift, because it is. It's someone offering you a point of view on your content that you will literally never have because you are the content creator and not the consumer. They're offering you a glimpse at your content through their eyes, and that can be invaluable. Now, let me clarify. When I say genuine criticism, I don't mean when someone decides to take a big ol' steaming crap all over your content. I wouldn't blame you for not applying that to your work. No, what I mean is when someone points out flaws in your work and then potentially provides a way for you to improve. When you brush off actual critique, you do yourself and your audience a disservice. And I'm sorry if this sounds harsh, but if you get to the point where you've become complacent with your content and you start taking your audience for granted, maybe you're not cut out to be a content creator. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but I feel like there should be an inherent love of your craft and a desire to keep improving, and actively denouncing those who criticize you seems to fly in the face of that. But what do I know? But what if there's no one complaining about my content? What then, fat boy? Why you gotta be like that, man? But okay, that's great that you've reached a point where your audience is satisfied, but why would you stop there? You're never truly going to be the perfect animator, but why wouldn't you at least keep trying to get as close as you can? Is it just so you don't have to challenge yourself? I'd hope not, because if so, how much could your audience and your craft really mean to you? Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. To all you animators out there, keep taking criticism and improving your content. I hope you all have a long and prosperous career on this platform and that you make some stuff you're really proud of. Thanks for letting me speak my mind, Liam. Eric, out!
Maria Kutsu.
As someone who draws a lot, I know that constructive criticism is crucial for a creative's growth, and also any forms of criticism, good or bad, will be encountered at any stage of a creative's artistic career and/or journey. That's why I believe that the commentary community can coexist with the animated storytime community. The animators in the animated storytime community can choose to take the criticisms commentators give and see what they can improve with their content. However, I do admit that sometimes some commentators think that certain content should meet a certain standard, since they believe that mediocrity will be bred if no one calls out at how low the bigger names have put the metaphorical bar. I would say that the animated storytime community has made animation on YouTube a more accessible place and has inspired many to pursue animation and art so that they can share their own stories too. It isn't perfect though, and each content creator in this community has their own things to work on. So do the creators in the commentary community. They need to learn how to give criticism and how not to give criticism. So I hope that commentators will realize that certain Storytime animators can only do so much and sometimes can only take criticism they feel fit for them. And I hope that those in the animated Storytime community will understand that commentators are just ordinary people who just have their own opinions to how something should work, and also do want to give some criticism so that they can improve on their own content. I dabbled with the kind of content both the animated Storytime community and the commentary community make, and it taught me how making videos isn't an easy thing. It also taught me that everyone in these two communities are the same. Everyone here is the same since they all take their efforts to make the best content they wish they can make. We are all just human beings who have one thing in common, and that is we all make videos we like to make.
Always Alex.
Personally, I think it's a bit crazy that it's such an issue still, really, and it's been going on since about, what, April? It shouldn't even be a problem anymore. It started just one guy made a video to point out the issues with the Storytime community, pointing out that Random Thoughts was getting repetitive along with a lot of other subjects, pointing out things like character designs were similar, very bland, pointing out issues like classing stuff as animation when in reality it is literally just a still photo for 5 seconds, nothing on the screen to another 5 seconds, a different pose. And I get that, it was a bit of a problem, but then eventually after that it started getting into these points that the entirety of the community was bad, and everyone started saying, oh, Storytime is terrible, oh, you're all the same. And the same thing went on for months and months and months. And yeah, it was a way to get big, it was a way to get views, and quite frankly, I kind of had that mindset when I made my video as well, which I do want to apologise for. It was a terrible video, it was badly made, and I don't want to do anything like that again. But it was the same insults being thrown back and forth between the two communities, and quite frankly, it got to the point where it just needed to stop. I'm friends with people all over the internet, and I've got to say, from both communities as well. I've met some amazing people, and they've helped me a lot. Bickering doesn't get you anywhere. All it does is gets you in the same repetitive circle and the same things being done over and over again. We should all just stop for a bit and speak to each other, because at the end of the day, no one's perfect, and no one will be perfect. But if we work together and share ideas and advice, maybe we can actually get along and be able to cooperate and get the best from both sides of each community. And if we work together, life will be a million times better. And I can assure you, if you don't like the commentary channel, I promise you there are some amazing people in there. Same with the Storytime channel. You have got idiots at both sides, I'll give you that. You have got some real so-and-sos, but you're gonna get them everywhere. And if you wanna make videos to follow trends and get money, well, just make Fortnite videos, I guess.
Snowy.
I'm lucky enough to be in like the middle of all this, where I could go on either side. I have some like really good friends in the commentary community, and I have really good friends in the Storytime animation community, so I can see both ends. I'm pretty in the middle about this, honestly. I feel like commentary channels and Storytime animators are completely opposites. You know, opposites attract, oh boy. Commentary channels have to pump out a lot of videos and kind of talk about what's going on that week and some hot topics that they kind of search out for things to criticize, and that's kind of what they're built up on. Or it really just depends. And it doesn't have to be just criticism, but I think in this situation, they're more just criticizing the community. For some people, doing it just because, you know, it's the video for the week. Yeah, it's like the video for the week. And then there's other people that actually really care about animation. That's with pretty much any topic, and it's not just, oh, they're doing it for the money. I mean, they have to put out videos anyways. But same creator that could be lovingly criticizing this community, like the Storytime one. The other person's a fan of David Dobrik, and he's doing it for a passion project, while the guy that loves Storytime doesn't really care for David Dobrik, and he's just doing it because it's a weekly thing. People have their own interests and their hobbies and all that, and I think it really shows in their content and how they criticize people. You know, there's definitely been some really stupid commentators that just don't understand what they're talking about and like how much goes into animation and Storytime stuff and all that. But there's also people that do it out of a place of love and wanting to see some improvement. And I have seen a lot of improvement in the community. As someone that's talked to people and seen behind the scenes, I have seen a lot of the criticism has actually gotten to the people and they agree and they're making changes. But then there's also the area of people who aren't really wanting to be quote-unquote animators. I wouldn't classify myself as an animator, honestly. I like to draw, and it's kind of to help with my videos, give another interesting visual aspect of it. And there's some people who don't want to do that. They're just more casual about it. And then there's people that are trying to be animators and all that jazz. And it's a whole messy area. The animation community can be a bit sensitive, or the Storytime one per se. It's had history, while commentary is a little more cynical. It grew kind of like its foundation, or in this like modern day, I feel was Leafy's here in a way. Like the last big kind of explosion was on the whole Leafy's here. So I feel like we're still kind of riding the waves. It's kind of like, this could sound messed up. It's kind of like a nuclear bomb or whatever, where the radiation is still there, and it's kind of like the effects are still there after like so long. So it's kind of like the radiation from Leafy's videos still kind of lingers. I feel like we are still, we're a bit edgy, but it's not just Leafy based, but you know what I'm saying. It's kind of the last big thing. So I feel like that does have some sort of influence. On the animator side, it's kind of like with animation in general, it's a lot more work, and unless you have a team of people, you can't produce high quality little animations on a scheduled basis unless you're like Alex Clark or Jane Animations or the other ones out. There's a few that are experimenting and kind of trying to find that sweet spot, especially like Cypher Den comes to mind, how she's messing with like rigging puppets and all that, which is a smart way to do it. Yeah, when it comes to like animation, it takes a long time, and that's something I think a lot of commentators kind of look over, how much time it actually goes into it. Like they know it takes a long time, but I don't think knowing how long exactly will show, and it just depends on people's animation. And I think there's people that want to see animation grow on the platform, including me. I really want to see it grow, but I want to see it grow outside of Storytime as well, and not just stuck in this area. And seeing how like oversaturated it's been in the like past year, yeah, it's kind of annoying when this perfect platform, when animations come back, it's just one thing, and it's doesn't seem as high quality, but it has to be like that way, and it can't really change and be sustainable. I don't know, there's like this middle point. I think to wrap it all up, I've seen both sides actually impact each other, because I've seen commentators actually get better from being criticized from like their videos on certain animators and their behaviors. Stupid things they might have said on Twitter, or like attacking the people, and they have to kind of fess up to it and live up, hey, this is what I did, I'm sorry. I've seen, better criticizing, like Daft Pina, for example. So their stuff was a lot more harsh, and he made a few videos that felt very unnecessary. Like you've seen him kind of grow from that, like his research and his criticizing, it's really well done. And then you can look at someone, a good example for me, I'd always say, is Silly Panda, where her stuff wasn't very good in the beginning, but with the criticism and jazz, I've seen her, like, she's grown, and her stuff is genuinely getting, like, pretty good for animation-wise. I think both communities, as long as they're kind of helping each other, well, I think they don't know it, that they're, it's funny, because these communities are subconsciously helping each other, and they kind of, in a way, like, I don't know, I feel like commentary channels have grown the most with these Storytime animators, because they have, a lot of them I've seen change. Like, I've seen them change, and I think it's just because these videos that they're making, and same for Storytime animators, are getting better and better. And I don't know, I hope to see a little more diversity on the Storytime animation community, and I also hope to see better research, better picked people to talk about in commentary, because both ends have a lot to improve on still. I genuinely think right now, with where we're at and having like a healthy debate, it is actually bringing some improvements to both people, like to both sides, and I think that's really good. I don't know if I should plug myself. I'm Snowy. I make video essays with animatics, kind of about these 3 roommates that go on adventures so they can pay their rent to their weird landlord. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
I feel as though I've said everything that needs to be said on this matter. Both sides do have a lot to improve on, and if they're going to have any future on YouTube, they need to work with each other. We've talked about the negatives, we've generalized, we've all done things we're not proud of, but it doesn't define me, it doesn't define you, it doesn't define us. As different as the Storytime animators and commentators are, they are ultimately intertwined. They need each other, they make each other better. So we need to stop demonizing, stop villainizing, stop dividing each other. Now it's about communicating, putting our egos and preconceptions aside, pushing ourselves to be the absolute best we can be, providing the best entertainment for our fans, focusing on and building on the positive, and creating unity among the communities. Thank you all so much for watching my very first video of 2019. Thanks so much for being a part of this. Nate is Liam, LS Mark, Always Alex, 2-Bit Eric, that guy who can't sing, Snowy, Maria Kutsu. Remember, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, comment down below. Your opinion is important to me. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know what you think of all this. Like the video if you've enjoyed the video. Until I see all you wonderful people next time, goodbye.